Hey everyone, and welcome to another live stream with myself, DM Bloodworth. Although in this case, it's going to be Castle Keeper Bloodworth, and I am joined so far with some of the members of my player group. So now we're playing Castles and Crusades, and we're going to be doing a recap of session 2 of our campaign, which was actually prior to Christmas. So we're kind of on a 2-week hiatus for the holiday break, but we will be back and playing on January 2nd, I believe, this Tuesday. So we will be back for next Tuesday, and then we'll be back to doing our live stream recaps right after that. So probably Thursday, and then I'm going on a mini vacation. I'm going to Philadelphia Game Con, and I'll be reporting from there. At least I hope so. Reporting from there while I'm at that convention. So hopefully there's a lot going on over there. I already know a few people that I want to certainly touch bases with, but I will save that for later. Let's see. So we have our holiday greetings, and welcome back, everybody. I know I chatted with most of you last Tuesday because we thought, or at least I thought I really told everybody that we were going to take the week off, but perhaps I conflated it with two different game groups. Maybe that was Friday's group, and I told them, well, I can't make it, and we should just take the week off, But welcome, Leah and Mirador and Alan. Good to see you all.
I'm here.
Made it, but I'm eating, so my camera's off.
Yeah, and waiting to see. I'm sure that Andrew will probably pop in.
I think he said in the chat that his mic is broke, but he's chatting though.
He'll follow along in chat. Great.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Breeze. Hopefully you get your mic fixed. Scott Little, hello. I'm new here. I don't know what to expect. Hey, well, welcome very much. Welcome, Scott. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a recap of our Castles and Crusades campaign that we just began, and we did session 2. I'm going to talk a little bit about the session and give everybody an opportunity to my players that do show up that want to talk about their experience during the same, and then we'll move on from there. We'll probably have some other topics that come up along the way, and of course I'll be monitoring the chat to see if anyone has any specific questions that we'll deal with. So Empty Inside is one of my players. He just has a mic problem, so he won't be jumping in. Our topics very often general discussion about old school gaming. Yes, absolutely. Both video and tabletop. I'm friends with Cormac and one other. Oh, cool. All right. So Alan is playing Cormac. I haven't attached everybody to their characters just yet.
I'm Cormac.
You gotta do like I did and put your character name in.
Yeah,
I did, but it got changed.
All right, and so we have another carpenter. All right, so it's chimed in there.
No, that's me.
That's you. I know it's you. I was like, you're just trying to confuse me with added things. So anyway, let's see. L, 2 minutes unskippable on conservative setting for what is worth. Oh boy. All right. Well, that might be the very first 2 minutes, and we'll see. We'll have to double check L, but it's so I put a new setting in. So there's a new setting now with doing live streams where you can set it to conservative, which is supposed to mean fewer commercial interruptions, but since L is a frequent follower on it, and he seems to get 1,001 interruptions. Hopefully it'll change, but if not, the other thing that he had mentioned, and we have gone back and forth and everything, is that super chats is always a possibility. And so if anyone wants to, kick in $1 or $2 or whatever towards, towards the channel during these live streams, then, I would seriously consider just turning off the commercials, or the advertisements to begin with. But got to play it by ear and all and see how it goes. So let's see, Scott, this channel has mostly top-notch reviews and opinions. Well, thank you very much, Al. And Shadow, good job. Your stream time is 9:05 Eastern time. Yep. And it is biz. So, this StreamYards does cost like $25 a month. And, then I have my other things too that, probably cost me about $50 a month for everything combined. So, if I can break even, I'll be perfectly happy. And actually this month I might actually break even this month. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, here we go. We are going to go to our banners and see what we were going to bring up next. So welcome to our session 2 recap of Castles and Crusades, the Iggsburg campaign. And I am waiting to get Stephen Chenault from Troll Lord Games on the channel again for another interview. And specifically, I'm going to be asking him about future items that are going to be republished or published for the first time through Troll Lord Games from the Gary Gygax estate. So I'm sure that, these things rolling out are going to continue to do so. And I'm really looking forward to that. And my players, you are going to be getting, introduced to these things as they do come out. So I'm really excited about that as well. So let's see, where's Breeze? Breeze is not currently in. And hey, Marcus, all right. So
he's having a microphone problem.
Alukas, if I mispronounce it, I am surprised. So you became a new member, a YouTube member. Well, thank you very much for that. And I believe that means you're my first actual member. So there is a membership option on the channel as well. And so that's super, super exciting. And thank you very much for that. And feel free to jump in. Now, membership does have its privileges. And so if you are ever looking for a game to jump in on, even to do a guest appearance, that will open the door for you to do so. So you might come in as like an NPC or even as a player, since, sometimes I get slots opening up, and I have the capacity up to 10 players, which I've already proven with this group. And, so I do have the capacity, for 10 players. And so that's that it's a challenge, but it's actually been a very enjoyable challenge as well. So let's see. I love hearing more about Amazing Adventures. I do have that, and I am, I will return to that soon, Ironcasters. So definitely get around to doing that. So let's see. People want. I'm going to jump right into the screen share, and I can go over the. I will go over the characters that were involved in session 2. So let me do that next. So here we go. And I am going to cancel that. I want to switch that view real quick. Hold on. So yeah, switching things on this and in StreamYard is not always as seamless as I like. So let me get everybody to the right title page here, and then I can introduce the characters. So here we go. So Let me find StreamYard. And now let me try to present and see. This scarily reminds me of the COVID time during school. So anyway, so here is our title page, and so I'm assuming everybody can see well enough. So we had Bill the fighter, and Bill is played by Shadow and Sun. Then we have Cornelius the gnome druid, who is played by
Mirador,
who is here present. Then we have Cormac the cleric, who is played by Alan, who is present. We have Malcolm Moyle, the barbarian. He goes by Kennedy. Kennedy is his first name, and Malcolm Moyle. I just thought that Malcolm Moyle, which is a cool last name, actually sounds more setting appropriate. Then we have Oswald, the halfling bard, who is played by the OGGM. Hopefully he can make it. Then we have Pounce, our elf ranger, who is played by Leah, who is in the chat. We have Seven, who is our monk, and he is played by Empty Inside, who is in chat. And we have Yarg, who is a wizard and is played by Kelly Foote, who is not present right now. So we'll see.
He is.
Oh, he is. Is he in?
He's your party person. He's over in the comments.
Your party person, yeah.
Oh, he's on the comment person. All right, great. All right, so these are the player characters that were present in session 2. We were not accompanied by our half-orc fighter, who will be back next week for the next session. So this is our introductory group here, and now I'm going to bring us over to this map here. And I don't know if you can see the map, or let's double check and see. Yes, you can. All right, so there's the map. And I also want to bring up, oh, there's Shadow and Sun. Hey, Shadow.
hey guys.
Brought you in now. So so we play on Roll20, and as you can see, I'm using just the mapping aspects of it. I don't use the lighting, the dynamic lighting. It's always been glitchy as anything anyway. Let me get rid of these comments. Get rid of that highlighted comment that I was on. So, and let's get rid of the banner so you can see a little better too. Okay. So, so I have been, utilizing Roll20 just for the visuals as far as the maps are concerned. I use Fog of War, so as the players are exploring a map, I reveal it as, as they can basically see what is in their line of sight. And then we use Discord for our audio, which works a lot better than the audio that is embedded in Roll20. At least I think it's a lot more stable. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about our session, which was really quite a crazy session. All right. And it actually led to a really big discussion that we had as a group. So both the castle keeper, myself, and my players, we all kind of chimed in, and I think we came with a pretty good compromise. But I'll let my players talk a little bit about their experience with session 2. So I guess we'll start with we'll just go right down the line, and we'll go with Leah. You're next in line.
Oh, well, let's see. I got my first kill and then ended up starting more than I could handle.
You chased that first goblin down, down the hall, and
right into where they were waiting on us.
Yeah, yeah. right into well, his cohort actually, his companion ran down and alerted everybody else. But yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a very quick, rapid kill too. Empty Inside has made it. Who plays 7? So now we have quite a few of our players in now. And
Yay.
hey everyone.
Hey, Breeze.
So
hello.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, everybody. How's
Nice,
it going?
nice to see
Don't know
everybody.
how well the mic's going to work, but I'll do my best.
no, I can hear you fine. Although it was a little cracky, but heard you fine. All right. So so I'm going to just take a view of this Roll20 and kind of walk everyone through. And then I'll show the recap that I have up there. At least it was my recap of trying to get everything, and you can all chime in and remind me if I'm getting anything wrong. So as Leah mentioned, so you're all seeing right now is the map of this hidden lair, and the party learned about this hidden lair by it was actually Leah's character, who was a ranger who tracked. She could see where the tracks of the goblins that they fought in the street led to, when they led to this this storm door. It was like a basement door, one of those like walk down basement doors, which led them, into this area here. And then as she started making her way, she discovered the secret door that was here. And once she opened that up, she spoke goblins.
Elf.
Yeah. The elf. She is an elf character, so she had some advantages for both of those things, and she's a ranger, so she's very good at tracking as well. And she spotted 2 goblins. She instantly killed this one, and the second one had broken down, and you can see this cluster that was down here. So so down in this cluster, and I'm actually going to refer to my notes as we go here, but this is where it kind of ended. So this is how everyone, well, actually I should bring Oswald over here, and Pounce was up over here at that point. I think it was closer to something like this when.
Can you zoom the map size and make it bigger?
Yes, I can. So let's see.
That might make it easier for the audience to see.
Is that making it better?
Yeah, we can see where
Great.
where
You can
most
see
of the
it now.
action was. That's
Okay.
where most of the action was. Yep.
Yes, that's where most of the action was. So let me turn to my notes, and I'm just going to start going over this. So this the date of the session was December 19th. It was session 2. The characters I already spoke about who was there. Ultimately, my combat notes was in the street they fought 2 ruffians and 3 goblins in the street. They killed both ruffians, which is just common human thugs in the street, and 2 what are kind of like feral goblins. So they're a type of goblin that's unique to this world setting, and they're just they tend not to use weapons. They just use a claw bite, which actually makes them a little bit more dangerous because they get 2 attacks. Even though they're a low hit die creature, the fact that they get 2 attacks in a system that uses at least by me, it uses critical hits.
3 attacks.
Well, no, they only get the 3rd attack. Yeah, they only get the 3rd attack if the 2 claws hit. Then they get the 3rd attack.
Still,
So,
Well, I can tell you right now.
yeah.
I can tell you right now. You don't need to convince me they're deadly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're pretty deadly, and actually, they're less deadly than what they were modeled from, because they were supposed to be buaks, which are from the Slavic mythos that I had, and they're much tougher if they were actually those particular goblins. They're 3 hit die goblins.
We weren't ready for them.
No, you weren't ready for them. And like I said, I toned them down, and yet those double attacks are still a major thing. And this is a very common issue, I think, with any game system that has the automatic hit on a roll of a 20 and critical hits with natural 20s as well. And you have a large party of players and player characters. And so when they're encountering things, they're encountering larger numbers because the party size kind of makes that where. So when you have that combination, and you have, in this case, 8 players fighting 6 goblins, those 6 goblins are getting minimally 12 attacks every round. And and my luck as a castle keeper or as a dungeon master when I was playing AD&D is I tend to roll highs and lows a lot, so I tend to roll fumbles and I tend to roll natural 20s, quite often. And so that's both to the benefit and detriment of my players, as they can probably tell you. And but it's always in good fun. We do have a good time with it, I think, overall. So anyway,
2 of your enemies killed themselves rather than attack us.
Yes, well, you guys tend to fumble more than you critical hit, and that's all on you. That is all on you.
A lot of that is on roll 20.
We
Yes.
learned a real big tactical lesson, though. That's let sleeping goblins lie.
Yes.
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 Yeah, so there was that one little. I'm going to hit this one.
I think what's necessary is for you to pay attention so you know what that symbol meant that was on that goblin.
Yeah. So if the viewers can see, that's what all of these goblins with the little like sad dark face on them, they were put to sleep. Or you see it on the player, like Bill the fighter was just unconscious. That's how I showed unconsciousness as well. So these were unfortunately not all put to sleep in one spell casting. It was 2, then it was 4, and then finally the 5th was put to sleep. And that's just because of the angles that they were at. It was, one of these goblins was actually shifted over here. And so kind of out of view of the wizard when he was casting, so he couldn't catch him. I believe he caught these 2 right away, and the third one was not touched, and he was dealing out massive damage to Bill.
And Kennedy. And
Kennedy was getting hit by the other one who wasn't put to sleep. This one over here, who wasn't put to sleep yet either. And so they were just, they were really taking a lot of hits. And then 7 was also taking quite a few hits. He got hit a few times by this goblin here. And then the big bad guy, which was a third level cleric. You're seeing him with he was brought down to 4 hit points.
He woke that goblin on the far left there, or far left. He woke up because he was sleeping. He hit him, and so then he woke up, and then he got up and proceeded to pound him for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody hit him and woke him up. I can't remember who.
Yeah, somebody is.
Not me. I needed to be woke up first.
Yeah, somebody hit him. So
what you all don't realize is that 7's blood is actually highly acidic, and that was actually a successful attack on his part at killing the goblin. It was just going to take a while.
Yeah.
Stop trying to channel the demigod killer. You're not him.
So anyway, so it was a really close fight. And the way that fights go, once you start having player characters drop. All right. So the first was 7. 7 was brought to 0 hit points. He went down. Then he was healed back up again, and then hit a second time, or second and third time, and brought down to negatives, where he was stabilized and They just left him down because he would probably be better off not being brought back up again while there was still combat going on. Very similar thing happened with Kennedy, who was brought down, healed back up again, and then hit with just a massive triple hit. So he was hit with
and it was a crit
and a bite, and one of the claws was a critical hit,
Yep.
which rended off his left leg. So he was brought to -6 hit points, and he was brought back, or at least stabilized. And then Bill, the fighter, was brought down to -2, knocked unconscious, and that's when finally the last of the goblins was put to sleep, and then they were all offed by the rest of the party. The evil cleric, which you see over here, he was really put to task and forced to just spend the time healing himself. He was getting hit by the halfling bard, by Seven the monk, and by Cormac, who, they were, just kept on banging him down, and then he would have to heal himself back up again and bang him down.
Didn't I get the killing blow?
And you got the killing blow on.
I think it was on the cleric.
Cormac. No, Cormac killed the cleric, right?
No, I think she got him.
You got him
with a
I
bow.
came in
I think.
With a bow.
Yeah.
No, I think I actually hit him with my longsword.
Oh, right, because you stepped over Seven, because Seven was on the ground.
Yes,
I remember you were able
Yeah.
to step over him and attack him. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it was a really challenging fight, and it got to the point that we started thinking about after the game session was over, and we started. I could stop sharing this actually. After the game session was over, we started talking as a gaming group about critical hits, and and whether or not we wanted to keep them in. Now I'm a big proponent of having critical hits, and I like the system. I like using the particular option 5 of Castles and Crusades for critical hits. It gives them a little bit more flavor, but they do have a higher chance of an automatic kill or an instant death, I should say. So on a 19 or 20 on both tables, on the fumble table and the on the critical hits table, it's an instant death. And I don't like to hold player characters to that instant death without some kind of a rolled response, a rolled way for that not to happen. Now, AD&D First Edition has the system shock check, but Castles and Crusades didn't have that. So on the spot, I created a homebrew for that, and it basically said, well, you're going to roll a Constitution check to survive. And if Constitution is your primary, you're going to actually have a better chance of that. And then you're going to add your modifiers and such. So, if it's primary, and let's say you have a Constitution of like a 17 or an 18, you're only going to have to roll a 9 or better on a D20, which I figured that's a pretty decent chance of survival. Unfortunately for Tim, when he had to make that roll, his chance wasn't that high, and that's when his character died in session 1. And session 1 was also, sparked this whole conversation as well. So over the course of about 7 or 8 days, we were having this conversation about critical hits and such. And I also did a separate video on my channel talking about that as well. And it was almost 2,000 views on that channel, on that particular video. So, it did spark a lot of talk, which is great because, I think that when you're running a game or you're playing in someone's game and you have these game mechanic questions come up, I think it's really valuable for you as a gaming group to come together and talk about them and, and come up with at least a compromise for it. But as the game master, you have to, also kind of, stand by certain things that you think are important for the theme in the field that you're looking for from your campaign as well. But I think we came up with a decent compromise. At least I'm saying that right now before we've actually tested it. But I think we've come up with a decent compromise of a system where as you gain in levels, we're going to add your basic 2 hit to your roll on top of your level as well, so that you'll actually, it'll become harder and harder as you become more experienced to be instantly killed by anything. And I think by 4th level,
it'll work.
Say again.
I was going to say, I mean, and it sounds like it will work well for martial classes, but for other classes whose basic to hit doesn't move for like 3 or 4 levels. Like with the martial classes, your solution is going to allow martial classes within 2 or 3 levels to get out of that instant death range. Mm-hmm. But for other classes, they may never get out of that range because their basic to hit is so infrequent. Like, yeah, but
it will when they get to the point that their level itself is giving them the chance of rolling, their constitution check anyway. They're just not precluding the basic to hit, the instant death chance, but they still have the backup of the constitution check anyway. I didn't remove that. Remember, we decided that we weren't going to remove that because of that issue. So yes, martial classes will become sturdier against the possibility of instant death, which makes sense. I mean, thematically, it makes sense. So for you martial class characters, you're going to be more so looking to be on the front line of things. And as a group, I'm hoping that you now realize that a low hit die creature with multiple attacks might actually pose more of a threat than a higher level or a higher hit die creature with only 1 attack per round.
Right. The odds are 1 in 10 of a crit or a fumble, and it's really just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's when you're facing an equal number of opponents, but they get multiple attacks, that does increase the likelihood of more crits. But we also saw at the same time, I rolled 2 back-to-back fumbles, for NPCs or monsters, and they both rolled back-to-back instant deaths. I mean, they killed themselves, back-to-back in one round. I mean, it was an amazing. It was an amazing occurrence. Mathematically, what we say, it was like a 1 in 32,000 chance of rolling that way, and we actually watched it in real time happen. So, so that's
that was a 1 followed by a 20.
Yeah, it was, and I rolled it twice, right? Or I rolled a 1 followed by a 20, followed by a 1, followed by either a 19 or a 20 again.
I think it was another 20.
Yeah, so it was, and I think the odds is, it's a 1 in 400 is the 1 followed by the 20, and then doing it a second time, you multiply it. So it's either 1 in 16,000, or I think it's 1 in 32,000, something like that, chance of it happening. So very, very slim chance. But we did have it happen. So Shadow and Sun is in the green room. Yeah, no, I got him. All right. Sorry, I saw a comment there, a private chat.
That was a while ago.
Yeah. So let's see. So we are going to go through discussing crits. Yeah. So let's see. So a description of the crit fail success that lead into the compromise. Oh, you wanted a description of it. Let me show you. Let me bring that up, and so I can share that so you can see the exact table that we are talking about. And let's see how quickly I can bring it up. And it should take a couple seconds. But anyway, I'll let you talk a little bit and talk about some of the other experiences you're having, either with this particular session or the previous session, while I'm waiting for it to boot. Here we go.
I would say that letting me track them back to their lair was very helpful. Even though we almost lost a couple of characters in the fights, it's part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game. It's a, and that's actually kind of an interesting thing, because there was a different discussion that I got into with another video where I was talking about a starter adventure that that Wizards of the Coast put out that had DM tips that I was like, these are horrible tips, like they're just bad ideas. And instead of doing something like that, like having a reasoned way of allowing the players to overcome bad rolls or something like that, instead of just letting them move forward automatically and just hand waving the fact that they had terrible rolls. I would drop hints, and I dropped a hint. It was like, or reminders sometimes. You notice a little track, and you think that the goblins came from this direction. This is how I did it actually in the scenario. You're pretty sure the goblins came from this direction, and they were from a different direction than what the ruffians were from. And so just dropping these little hints of description so that my players would think, hey, why don't we go that way and look to see where they actually came from. And then that's when Leah, who finally made her tracking roll, because before she missed it, so she finally made her tracking roll, and then that allowed for them to go in that direction. So now, it didn't necessarily have to go that way. I mean, they could have said, I'm walking up the road, instead, and go in a different direction. And then I would have just waited for the next random encounter to naturally occur. But it didn't have to go that route. Ultimately, what would have happened was that if they never made that connection, the next day they would have had one more night's chance to discover where that lair was. If they didn't discover where the lair was, let's say they went through the next night and they had no encounter, so no chance of discovering that lair, they would have failed their mission. They would have failed that quest there, and because it just didn't happen. And I'm a big proponent of your campaign world keeps on moving forward, whether the player characters engage it or not. And, go ahead.
I'd say it's interesting now. It seems like, game systems today, and part of their whole intro to the whole game is like, don't let your player characters ever fail. Don't let them, don't let
Yeah.
them fail, or don't let them, not to do what they're trying to get done. And I'm thinking that is so anti-climatic, and it's so anti-gaming of the fun of the spirit of trying to discover
Well,
what
it's
you're
not really a
doing and
game
how
then,
to.
is it?
No, well, that's what I'm saying. If you're just gonna, it's like, playing a game where, shoots ladders, you know where the end is, right? You just got to follow the path with no side options. But you know what? Failure is part of what makes your group, grow or experience or develop what you are. So I'm not a fan of those, because a lot of games nowadays, say, oh, even if they all failed or wrong, make sure they move forward and the deal gets done. Da, da, da. I'm thinking, well, that's I have dice. Why don't we just call it story time, and let's not call it a game.
I'm gonna put up a statement here that Bill brought up, and this I think is just BS, because I don't think it's not his statement that's BS. I'm saying the way that they were trying to justify that hand waving of the rules. All right, so he says they were tips for running 5e games for 5-year-olds. Never did it say that. It said school age children. Did not say 5-year-olds. Basically, for under 12. But the 5-year-olds is when they came out afterwards, and they were saying, and my response to that was that if you are running a game for 5-year-olds, you're creating a game for 5-year-olds. You're not scaling back your flagship game to meet 5-year-olds where they're at. All right, and tell them, well, you're playing this. No, create a whole new, create a whole new game just for them. And then once they're out of that age bracket, then you bring them over into the next game. Hey, if you like that, then you could play this. And I was joking around. I said, you can call it D&D Junior if you want. All right, and it has a totally different game system. Go ahead, Leah.
Well, what were you saying? Call it what?
D&D Junior.
What?
D&D Junior. Yeah. D&D Junior, just like Nick Jr., right? They have the I was like, so fine, do it like that, but don't give me this excuse. And that's what it was. It was an excuse for bad tips, because the tips were just, they were bad no matter what age group you're talking about.
Well, it seems to me that it's all with them. It's all about keeping people playing, kind of like the video game mentality. You don't die, you just keep playing, because that's how you sell the product. And if people think, oh, well, I can't die, they're more likely, especially the younger ones, no offense, guys, but it's true. They're more likely to keep playing. If kids these days were faced with the funnels and the 4 hit point and you're dead scenarios we all faced, they wouldn't even have a company. There would be no Dungeons and Dragons, because it would be they just can't handle that kind of difficulty. They've been fed on video games and participation trophies their whole lives. They just couldn't play a game like this, or any of the other versions of Dungeons and Dragons, whether it be BECME, Basic, Advanced D&D. Heaven forbid.
Certainly not. Yeah, certainly not Basic. No. I mean,
has done a disservice to the gaming community by promoting the concept of every character is the main character for every session, and every one of them has DM applied plot armor.
Yeah, a lot of the actual plays have really taken the game of what 99% of us know as real gaming, and they made it something that's not, and it gives a bad example for those people who are trying to start a game, because the expectations are unreal and the quality of the game isn't up to standard. So you imagine a lot of people who think about getting in the the hobby disillusioned and probably quit. So I agree, though, Shadow. They have to make it dirt simple to where people, used to the video age of multiple you know, it's just like when video games started, you had the tough games, you know, that where you died, and you had to go retrieve your body in the middle of everywhere and lost all your equipment. And then, you know, Blizzard came out with WoW, and next thing you know, you could die 1,000 times a night and there's no penalty. That's, you know, that's kind of how D&D has
Just run
evolved to
back to
where
your
it is.
body.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was the old days, man. That was hard times.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a, you know, again, it's like if you want to make it simple for them, then that's fine. But you make it clear you are not using the full system rules here. You know,
Yeah.
and these are the things that we're not going to focus on. We're not going to focus on, you know, having the full action economy. We're going to, you know, limit that. We're not going to roll initiative. We're not going to do
Well,
these
see,
things, you know, here or there. But you're upfront and saying, you're not saying, well, if they roll bad, you change the circumstances of that bad roll. All right, you give them a string of advantage rolls instead. It's like, wait, you're rewarding them for making
Failure.
one bad roll, so now I'm going to get the next three, you know, advantage rolls because I rolled one bad roll. Well, I'm going to hope for a lot of bad rolls then. It's like,
no, right?
You know,
You do better because you're doing poorly.
Yeah, it was
what
like,
is that?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it slows the
know.
game down.
Yes, and that
Yeah,
was
the
the
board
other
game
part of
industry.
it too. Was that you're just slowing the game down. You're starting them off with bad habits because
Right.
you know I envisioned this as you know they're going to walk away from that experience with that expectation now. Oh, when I go to a table, now I'm 14 years old and I've been playing this way for the last 6 years, let's say. And now I'm going to go to a table. And if my DM doesn't hand wave off my, you know, my rolls, or if I'm not paralyzed instead of killed and set outside the dungeon, you know, and I'm perfectly safe laying out there paralyzed in the, you know, in an open field, you know, in Mordor, you know, I should be perfectly okay out there. Now, it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. It was just bad advice, and someone already said it. Bad advice for adults is also bad advice for children as well.
Yeah.
You don't start them off thinking that 2 + 2 is 5, and that's that's great because they at least understand that adding two positive numbers is going to add to a larger sum. No, you start them off with 2 + 2 is 4, and if they get it wrong, you tell them that's wrong, and you keep on correcting it until they get it right. You know, if the players have failed rolls, then what you do is you
Kill them.
remind the players of what their characters, you know, noticed, and try to give them a tip or a hint in what they noticed to get them back on track. All right, or to give them another opportunity to discover that.
The board game industry does a great job of having intro games of the higher level games.
Mhm.
Like there's Catan Junior and there's Ticket to Ride Junior. These games are geared to the 5 to 10-year-old
Yeah.
crowd, to where it gives you the core of the idea, but it doesn't give you all the rules and all the nuances. And you know, for me, I've been running conventions for kids. You know, I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she's a
Mhm.
gamer, plays twice a week, and she started playing when she was 6 years old, and we went to our first convention when she was 6. So I started tables at a convention, a couple tables a 3 or 4 a year, and you know you have to have something at that age that you don't want to introduce them to a full system. It has to be simple about making decisions, and then you know a simple dice roll system that really is just. And the dice has to represent what their stat is. And I used a modified version of Savage Worlds because like if you had a 4 strength, that you rolled a 4 for almost everything you did if it involved strength. And I kept it really simple, but it taught him the concept of of decision making and failures and consequences of bad decisions, and kids need that because when you get older in life, if you do nothing but make bad decisions because you're applauded and achieved for your bad decisions, you're gonna have a pretty miserable life when you become an adult.
Not to mention the fact that if you don't let somebody fail a little bit when they're younger, then they'll be totally devastating to them later on when the world doesn't see them the way their parents saw them. Right?
Yeah, you get their first job and they realize they screw up every job and they get fired. Why? Well, it don't work that way in the real world. Sorry.
Yeah, this was the other thing I wanted to mention, because I mentioned it on some of those that were pushing back on me and saying this was written for kids. This was written for 10, 11-year-olds. I was 11 years old when I started playing AD&D First Edition. All right, there was no hand holding in that, not at all. I mean, and that that is something that kids in their high teens, I think today, would struggle with, is just that kind of rule. Now, granted, the formatting of that book is horrible. The rules contradictions of it are pretty stark in some cases, but we handled it as 11, 12-year-olds. Back in 1979 and 80, when they all rolled out at that point, or 78, 79, 80, when they rolled out, and we managed. We didn't have to have, my DMs were not hand waving bad rolls. They were nope, your character died. I probably went through like 4 or 5 characters before I realized, we have to take these things slow. We got to go through these things and be careful. Go ahead, Leah.
That was the era of, okay, roll me 3 dice 6. Yeah, okay. Let me have another 3 dice 6. Oh, wait a minute, I'm rolling up a new character. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just that's when we learned to be cautious. We relied on all of those little items that are memes today, right? So we always had caltrops. We always had a 10-foot pole. We always had oil. We always
iron
had all
spike
these
and a hammer.
Yeah, we always had all of these adventure things, and they were important. And we used to have to manage, because I've been seeing this go on too. Should you force players to do resource management? Should they have to keep track of how many arrows they have, and how many spikes they actually have, and how much oil and stuff like? I was like, yes, that's how we, that's how we grew up doing it.
Keep track of everything, man. Every copper piece.
Yeah.
There were two different. There were 2 different things that happened to me in my early gaming career that told me death was going to happen, get used to it, or get a helmet. And those 2 things were my very first DM. When I sat down in my very first game, it was already a gaming session that I was joining. And I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, can I have a character sheet? He pulled out his old Trapper Keeper. I'm showing my age on that one. Pulls out his Trapper Keeper, opens it up, and he had maybe 60 blank character sheets printed out, stuffed in that Trapper Keeper. And I'm like, this guy comes prepared. Then I'm like, wait a minute, am I going to need 60 characters?
Yeah,
And the second thing that triggered it is when I said, "Oh, you know what? They have a new thing in the store." When I, back in the day when I'd go to the game store and buy my books, they had ADD First Edition had a book, a little paperback thing that you could buy that was like a binder of character sheets. It had like 20 or 30 character sheets in it, and I thought that was awesome. Nowadays, it would be 1 character sheet and a dry erase marker. But back then, I mean, no, you need character sheet? Here, take 20. You're going to need these.
Don't get attached. Whatever
Exactly.
you do, don't get attached.
Just call him dwarf number 1.
Well,
No,
I mean, my character's name is Seven. Should he die, I'll make a character named 8.
Sequential order.
So let's see.
Let me campaign. I'm up to 99.
Let me jump to this real quick because somebody asked a long time ago what chart I was using. So let me bring that up. I think it's this one. Yes. So here, and I will expand it so you can see. Can everyone see that pretty clear?
Well, we can see half of one table and half of the other. So you probably
I'm
have
gonna
to show one then the other.
I will go over. So I am using option 5. All right. So option 5 is for this is part 3 of the Siege Engine. This is on page 315 of the Castle Keeper's Guide. This is the 8th printing of the Castle Keeper's Guide. And as you can see, this is the critical hit options. Both players and monsters use this. So I don't differentiate there. And as you can see, like a 1. So the lower you roll, the better the outcome. Or in this case, the critical hits. If you're doing them, the worse the outcome. You want to be on the upper end. But when they're directed at you, you obviously want to flip that, right? Now, I've seen other critical charts that put like the non-effect really, or in the middle where the average roll would be, but as you can see, it goes from, knock down the opponent to just some slight additional damage. Maybe they can't eat until healed. The teeth shatter. Almost every one of my players in my AD&D group has suffered every one of these. So, and sometimes multiple. All right. So, from smashed out teeth to cut off ears.
We were a real pretty group there.
Yeah, you're a real pretty group. You definitely showed your battle scars by the time you got to level 10 after 2 years of adventuring. So yeah, you were definitely showing those scars. I mean, there was
some of us were ugly to begin with, remember, and then found a ring that made him beautiful.
Sparrow was injured so badly that she got a scar, and when she went to a wild shape, there was usually a difference of color at that point because, hey, I was injured and it was a crit and I couldn't heal it all the way. I have a scar.
Yeah. So the actual hit on Kennedy the Barbarian was 17. So it was a 20 and then a 17, and so he had chop off random limb. Then he took an additional D12 points of bleeding damage until the wound is staunch. So he would have lost a D12 for every single round that was going on. So luckily they got to him, and
I healed him that round
right away.
Yeah.
Because another round he was already at -6. So on average, another round would have killed him anyway. So that is the critical hits chart. And the fumbles chart is very similar. So you should be seeing this now. So trip and fall upon the ground, lose a round of combat. That's the other thing. Whether you're any kind of fumble, you lose a round of combat anyway. You lose the current one that you're in and probably the next one as well, because you're trying to just recover from it. But, and then here you see back both 19 and 20 again are those instant deaths. So for the players, I'll stop sharing. For the players, I got rid of the instant death as it relates to not having any kind of a secondary role to prevent that from happening. So and so that's how I implemented it. And then it was brought up to me that, well, the martial classes are at a distinct disadvantage here because they're going to be in relation to casters who aren't likely to do fumbles because they don't have spells that can fumble. Go ahead, Shadow.
I have to take my leave.
Right.
This was a lot of fun, guys. I'm really looking forward to next week, and hopefully we'll get to do this recap as well. But you know, I told everybody I had to skedaddle. I will see you guys real soon. Happy New Year, everybody.
Have a good one. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
On Tuesday the 2nd.
See you
Bye, guys.
Tuesday.
Take it easy.
See you on Tuesday.
Yeah, so let's see. So Kelly, I know. But
there goes the center square.
Orange lines of the movie, yes. So anyway, so I think it was a really important
Jim J. Bullock to block.
Yes. I think it was a really important 2 sessions to have, because it made us really start to think about, you know, the game system and how it was going to translate with players who had already become accustomed to the combination of AD&D first edition and this critical hit chart. And so once we started playing a more pure Castles and Crusades, where the critical hit chart, we realized that Castles and Crusades doesn't have some of those same fail safes against a critical hit, instant death kind of situation, or a fumble instant death kind of situation. And so we modified. I mean, and that's, I think, important. It's important to be able to think fast on your feet sometimes as a game master, and to change things up as needed while you're running. And then once you're kind of settled on something that's working, you memorialize it by making it part of your homebrew that you will continue utilizing, going forward. When you find something that works, use it. It doesn't make sense not to use it. So yeah, it was a really good session. It was a session that, or 2 sessions, and it was something that sparked, a tremendous number of conversations, leading out of it. I mean, those 2 issues that came up, in the last, week and a half, have, I mean, hundreds of responses to them, and, back and forth, and just, in some cases, I don't want to say it wasn't heated debates, but it was certainly, people standing on, their belief, and that's it. There's no convincing them otherwise, which is fine too. But it was a really, really good experience to have with, with my players, and to share with the, with the people that followed the channel, and, been following our recaps as well. So it was good. It was a good experience. So let me try to get caught up to any of these other chats. Let's see. I will go through. Hey, Cal, good to see you. I know I didn't shout out the people that logged in since then, so let me get around to that. And I see some of you are handling some of the discussion in the chats as well, so thank you for that. Bob Jester, sorry. Bob Jester, welcome. Kids of the 70s and 80s were encouraged to grow into adults, not coddled and stunted and remaining children. Yeah. Yeah, we were brought up to be feral. Basically we were feral ourselves. We were tossed out in the.
And we used to be able to go out and roam the neighborhoods and have fun. Now there's a lot of places in this country you can't do that anymore.
Deadly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's it's like, as long as you were home by 10 in most cases, it was fine. On a school night, maybe earlier, but for the most part, it was, just be home before it's, too dark out. Let's see.
When the street lights come on, you come home.
Yeah, and that was pretty much you're on your way home. I used to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, if we walked in the house at 9 or 10 o'clock, that was fine. we were a little
But the
bit
point
more.
I guess I'm making is that it used to be safe enough that you could let
Oh
kids
yeah,
go out and
yeah.
do
No,
it. Now that there's very few places in the country
Yeah.
now you feel like that you'd be safe with.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a thing. Was that you really, and your neighbors used to keep an eye on everybody too, and whatnot. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of that issue that you didn't have today. You didn't have that kind of issue today where you had to worry about it as much. Let's see what else I can share here. So I do have my my log now. I don't know if I can expand this for you to read, but we're pretty much down where we did the combat and the combat experience and treasure experience and the treasure that was handed out, rewards and such. But this is just something that I do with each. These are my quick notes that I used just to kind of keep track of it. And as you can see, with 10 players, sometimes I will miss like which character was actually finished off. Like I really thought it was Cormac that finished off the I think what he did was he hit the guy, and I have to look at the paper notes that I had as well. I think he gave the guy a really serious hit,
I hit him twice.
And then Leah came back and finished him off. So she did the kill steal.
I hit him for 9. He healed himself. He got hit again, and then I hit him for 9 again, and he was looking real grim.
Yeah,
and then here comes Leah.
He was down to 1 hit point. He was down to 1 hit point when then she finished him off.
All I had to do was pink him.
Yeah.
Or I had to roll 1 point higher on the dice.
Don't I get a bonus for earnestness?
Yeah. No, it was fight, it was definitely a close fight, and I know I see Kelly dropped off. It's probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. No, later for him.
Yeah.
He's what, 6 hours? It might be 3 o'clock in the morning for him.
Well, I'm just grateful for the healing I got. When I got down to 1 hit point, I was feeling pretty grim. I'm glad.
Fortunately, he still had that 1 sleep spell left.
Sleep.
For every swing of the weapons you guys did, I had to go do a heal. Every round, I was healing somebody.
Yeah, no, it was a really, really tight fight, and that's the I think just the fun about it is that I think we were all on edge. I was on edge when I rolled against him, and I rolled that critical hit. I was like, oh shit! I even said, oh shit. I mean, it pained me to roll that critical against Kelly, and I was like, damn it. I mean, Kennedy. And I was like, damn it. It just is what it was, and
that's where I have to make a decision about what I would do or what my character would do, because if my character, of course, is going to try to save this person that he's working with, but I myself realize he's probably going to have to roll a new character anyway. Do I really want to spend a heal on this guy?
Yeah.
But I did it anyway because my character would have done it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's where you're putting at your, what would my character do? That's a really important thing to keep in mind. And that's something with my, for any of you that are watching this for the first time or watching one of these recaps for the first time, all of the players that you see on the screen now and the 2 that had to go, they've been in my group for over 2 years. So we just closed out an AD&D first edition campaign that lasted 108 sessions, brought the characters from 1st to 11th level, and mixed in between depending on class. 8, 9, 10, and 11, was fully represented there, and so we don't have that learning curve ahead of us anymore, because we kind of know how, they know how I am as a game master. I know how they pretty much function as players. And I also kind of have a sense of how they work as a team. However, with new characters now,
there's
I'm
different dynamic.
anticipating that there will be some differences because they were role playing their characters. Their characters had personalities, that were reflected in their actions and what they cared about and what they looked to do and how they performed. And so in almost every case, they've all changed character class, character race, and but particularly character class. And I think that's going to be an important thing to see how the same player plays a different character, very differently, and that's another like really important thing I think for new players and new dungeon masters or game masters to start to grasp and look to do themselves is mix it up, change game systems, change the types of characters that you play, and you're just going to learn and become better at it with more varied experience.
Yeah, Breeze never had that dilemma about he made it clear right from the very beginning. If you're getting a heal from me, it's a congratulations on surviving the fight.
Well, yeah, you were not. That wasn't your role as a cleric.
No,
Right.
he did
Much
on
as
occasion.
Mirador was more of the combat medic type of character.
So was Sparrow.
And so was Sparrow, and and your role was more of a combat support role, So
right. It was because of the fact that it fell into that category where he could be that I integrated it into his personality and said, "Oh, he's just going to say you're not worthy of a heal unless you actually survive the fight. Then you're worthy of a heal."
Sounds like another good night.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Bob Jesser. Nice meeting you, and you have a great new year. Yep. And there's Leah. Happy New Year to all. Yes. So let's see what else.
I did want to point out when I changed from AD&D to Castles and Crusades, I was tired of being the healer. I wanted to be a frontline fighter.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a two-weapon fighter. But in the original book, there really isn't a way to increase your ability to do that. So if I do two-handed fighting, I can do it. It's plus 3 and plus 6, or minus 3 and minus 6 on every roll. And I'm like, I might have both weapons out, but I'm only fighting with one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm parrying maybe, but
as your basic to hit increases, that becomes less of an issue.
Exactly.
And so there's where you get the balancing out, and that really makes sense because you're becoming a much more proficient fighter, as you're going. So that's why your basic to hit increases, and a ranger tracks very much. It's just one step off of what a fighter does. So you'll be a +1 at level 2, a +2 at level 3, and so on. So by the time you're 4th level, you've just gotten rid of that minus to your second hand, where you're at a +1 with that particular weapon too, and that's just from practice. That's from using it, and so you'll see that kind of wears off. So let's see. May your dice be happy little critters this year. Yes. And so I was going to bring up a couple other topics since this wasn't going to just be a recap. So upcoming content on my channel and for my gaming. So So yeah, so I just got in the mail today was my Shadow Dark, so my Shadow Dark Kickstarter came in today. So really excited. I am running that. I'm getting some of my games are literally just getting confirmed tonight that I'm running at a convention in April, and so Shadow Dark is one of them. So I'm like, awesome! I just got it now, so it's in hand and I can run that. But I will be at the Philadelphia Area Games Expo January 5th through the 7th. I am going solely as a player. But I am going to be touching bases with several people that will be there that I really do want to meet or see again. Meet up again with. So I am going to be speaking to Joseph Block, the Greyhawk Grognard. I just got his Castle of the Mad Archmage, Mega Dungeon. So. And that is basically the Castle Zadig Mega Dungeon, just his OSR version of it. And so I wanted to touch bases with him and talk to him. I still have to get the bestiary for his game system, which is kind of like an AD&D first edition translation into what Gary would have created if he made second edition. So it's based a lot on Gary Gygax's Dragon's Foot articles and his other articles in Dragon Magazine and everything, and just an extrapolation of if Gary did make AD&D second edition, this is what Joseph Block thought it would look like. So it's an interesting system, but I've never actually done a full breakdown of it. So I will be doing that soon. And I'll have a chance to meet him there. I am going to try to meet Professor Dungeon Master is going to be there as well. So like to meet him. I have his game system, which is I have both Eldritch Hack and Death. Is it Deathbringer? I think it's Deathbringer. It's like a super rules light game system. It's a one-page game thing. Deathbringer. I think it's Deathbringer. So I'm looking to meet him. There's an artist who his name is Chet Minton, and I have met him several times now at local cons, and I'm actually going to sit down and talk to him about doing a new original logo for my YouTube channel. So it's going to be very much based on what I currently have, but I'm going to ask them to put several of the characters from our AD&D campaign at the table instead, right? So so there will be a half-elf female druid. There'll be, I'm going to try to see if I can get all 8 or 9 of you that were consistently there the whole time, and that's not too insane for him to try to cram you all in there. Then that's what I'll do. But if not, I'll just at least try to get several different characters, maybe not all sitting at the table, but others in the background and such. But I'm going to try to get all 9 in there if I can, or 8 or 9 in there if I can. But if not, then it'll be 5 generic characters. But you could pretend. So, that, oh, hey, that's my character. There'll definitely be, an elf represented. There will be well, we have no dwarves in our group, so I don't have to put any dwarves in, but I'll probably put a dwarf in anyway. But we will have a halfling. Yeah, so we will have a halfling thief because that's my favorite character. And if we want to think that that's Crandon, that'll be fine too. So it's, everyone will hopefully get some kind of representation there as well. So, but we'll see.
Did I see
who else?
say...
Obviously, I will be playing in Frank Metzner's games. The whole time, practically the whole time. He's doing several charity games, and he's running an OD&D game Sunday morning that I'm in. So it's called Back to 1974. So basically playing the original OD&D with Frank, and that should be a lot of fun. I don't know what I'll play. I'll see what he's handing out. And who else am I looking to see there? Oh, 1, 2, 3. And this guy Tom Wilson, who runs ShireCon that I go to every year, and he's running Shadow Dark. He's actually running Shadow Dark. So on Friday evening, so I don't know if I can catch that game. I think I'm in one of Frank Metzler's games that same time, but I'll see if I can touch bases with him as well. So that's coming up in January. Then in April, this is my convention I'm going to, April 18th to the 21st. And there I will be running Shadow Dark, Gangbusters, Blade Runner, Weird Frontiers, and Conan 2D20.
Where is Rising Phoenix at?
That is in Milford, Massachusetts.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that one I thought you said was like maybe 2 hours for you, 2.5.
No, Lancaster, Pennsylvania is a lot closer. And then there's the one in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
No, Pittsburgh, January 5th. There's one in Pittsburgh.
Oh, all
Pittsburgh.
Right. Well,
Pittsburgh,
I thought it was talking. Actually, I thought it was Andrew, Empty Inside. Are you not that far from Milford, Massachusetts?
Not too far, no.
Oh, your mic is really breaking up.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not too far from Massachusetts, but I don't get out of state often.
Yeah,
Ankle bracelet.
I know a couple of people who are going to Philadelphia.
You didn't hear my joke.
One's going to be a vendor. A guy named Jeffrey Melendez. He's going to be a vendor. He sells game collectibles and board games.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
And he's going to be, I'm sorry, I missed the part. I was trying
Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll check him out. What's the company?
He does it himself. It's him.
Oh, what's his name?
Jeffrey Melendez.
Jeffrey Melendez. I'll see.
He's big in a couple of groups that we're both in. Well,
Yeah,
not big, but he definitely put me on his mailing list.
Let me see if I saved his because I saved the picture of the vending tables. Let's see.
Since we're bragging, I'm on a couple federal no-fly lists.
Well, that's what I joked about. I said I don't think you heard my joke though.
Oh, I didn't.
When you said I can't get out of state much, I said, "What, ankle bracelet?" And you didn't hear me.
Well, no, I have as most of you know, I have a very distinct lifestyle, and where the state I'm currently in affords me to live that lifestyle where other states do not. So I don't get out of state often.
Yeah, yes, that is Weird Frontiers, Bob Jester. Yeah, it is awesome. I actually wrote an adventure based on a Robert E. Howard story, and it went phenomenal. And again, I trimmed down the rules a little bit, but I think running it the second time, I'm definitely going there with the decks of cards and the poker chips and everything that goes along with that Weird Frontiers kind of feel to it. So looking forward to that. Let's see what else. So, and then finally, I am currently running a Castles and Crusades campaign online, and I'm going to start running Shadow Dark in person locally, whether it be at my local library, or there is a gaming shop that's right here in my town, and I'll see if they're open to having someone come in and run some games. I know somebody else runs games there on like Wednesday mornings. He runs 5e, so I'm gonna try to go there a different morning. I don't want to step on his toes, and run some Shadow Dark there, because I think that game system is really geared towards running one shots and short dungeon crawls and those kinds of things. And that's one of the debates that's about that game system, is it truly a can you run long-term campaigns with it? I think it's a perfect convention game, though. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping this up around 9:30 as well. So, so just a few more minutes, about 5 more minutes. So let's see. Walking the line alignment system. I recognize that I love walking the line alignment system. That's the one that's in Shadow Dark. Yeah. So, oh no, I'm sorry, it's not. It's that's in Weird Frontiers too. Where you shift. Yeah, it's in Weird Frontiers. The other thing I like in Weird Frontiers is that you have the gunslinger has that ability to flash that shooting down you go down the line of the dice rolls in order to hit. It's missing my mind a little bit. I'm knocking off some rum, so it's losing it. Yeah, I picked up the Kraken Golden Spice, and I'm not really crazy about it. It's more of a mixing rum, and Kraken has a mix that you do with orange soda. So I said, let me try that, and it made it a little bit better, but still not really my thing. But I drank a fairly good large cup of it. So anyway, yeah, so definitely looking to run that game system, Bob Jester, and loving that game system. That's a really, really cool convention game. That's how I was introduced to it, was a convention game. Yes, it is it is Kraken. I just finished off my bottle of the Kraken Black Roast Coffee Rum. That is unbelievable.
Under $1.
That is unbelievable. That is really, really good. I only do Yinglings.
Yinglings.
Yeah, Yingling. Yeah, I've had them before. Why is my rum always gone? Yeah. Mine lasts me a long, long time, but like I said, this one here I was not too thrilled with. It's not. I like spice rums better.
Yeah, I can't drink Yingling. I'd be laughed out of my family by some of the women in my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've had to cut back with the diabetes and old age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking some of the more old school Ireland-based parts of my family. I mean, even some of the women, wake up first thing in the morning, reach for that moonshine. You gotta love it.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I'll be running another stream on the 30th to celebrate my channel's anniversary. So channel's anniversary is the seventh year anniversary. That will be Saturday night. I'll be running a stream Saturday night. So of course everyone is welcome to join in, and I'm going to open up everyone to join in, up to 10, obviously. So that'll be a lot of fun if everybody shows up, and that'll be more focused on just a year in review kind of thing. Talk about the channel, talk about gaming, talk about 2023, and then some looking forward to 2024.
Speaking of gaming, Bloodworth,
Yes.
did I see you say something along the lines of next CNC game session being more RP directed or something along those lines?
Yeah. There'll be a little bit more of it'll be a little bit more focused on the festival, learning some stuff, and making some connections in your particular field. So yeah, it'll be a mixture of there could always be some combat because I don't know who you're going to attack next, and we'll see.
You mean who we're going to piss off next?
Yeah, it's like there's always that possibility too. So
are you implying
yeah
that we are murder hobos?
No.
And see,
hey, Leah, in all fairness, we're not all murder hobos.
well, think about it this way. You said we're going into the festival, so all we're going to be wearing is dress clothing and a staff. So that'll actually be the one time where you're actually on an even footing with your armor and weapons.
Yes, you'll be in your dress clothing, and the feather staff is a weapon.
Wait a minute, a dress and a staff, that's all I wear anyway.
That's my point. That's my point is that he's the monk. He doesn't wear armor, so he'll be on equal footing as far as armor class goes.
Or you can have well, he's second level now, so his armor class got one better.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So
and
now
he's a little faster.
He's the equivalent of wearing padded leather armor, I believe.
That's
padded
right.
armor.
Oh, see, that's another reason why the combat last time was so fast and furious is because you started us with social class money instead of the standard class money, so most of us probably have armor that's 1 or 2 levels below what we probably would have picked if we'd gotten regular money. So we were a little squishy.
Well, I also sacrificed my starting money for RP purposes.
Yes.
And I intentionally selected a lower quality or a lower value of armor than I could have.
All right, so
for role-playing purposes.
We're 2 minutes over. So I'm going to be wrapping this up. Let me just point out here so I have my first newest member of my YouTube channel. So thank you, Mercurius Lucas, or Lucas. And if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize.
Is it easy like John Smith, huh?
I will certainly have to send you something that I'm definitely putting your name in the prize list for when I give away some of my free giveaways, which I'm going to announce during the 30th live stream as well. So everyone, thanks for joining in, and you will have a great new year. And I'll probably be chatting with my people on Discord over the weekend and such. But once we get to Tuesday, we'll be up and rolling again on Tuesday and playing. So you all have a great night and good weekend and Happy New Year. Thanks, everyone, for joining in.
Adios.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Later.
Yep.